And welcome to Goal Chat Live. I'm Debra Eckerling, author of the award-winning Your Goal Guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals, and founder of the DEB Method, which is my system of goal setting simplified. And I'm so excited today. I know the best people, and we're gonna have, no pressure, total pressure. I am so looking forward to this conversation on dreams. I have fellow Mango, Elise Marie Collins, author of Super Ager, among others. Food whisperer, Cat Dillon, who is a registered holistic nutritionist, right? Mm-hmm. Right. And my favorite shamanic storyteller, Leslie Marsh, who is all sorts of other things as well. And we're talking about dreams, and what better combination of unique personalities and attributes to the conversation, because I know that Elise focuses on sleep, Kat focuses on food, and Leslie focuses on basically everything. So I am looking forward to this, and it's rather, I love the topic because we could talk about dreams in the literal sense, and we will, but also what are your dreams? Because sometimes the dreams feed the dreams. Anyway, I'm going to let them introduce themselves a little or a lot better. And Elise, let's start with you. Welcome. So nice to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Elise Marie Collins. I'm the author of Super Ager. You can look younger, have more energy, a better memory, and even maybe remember your dreams better and live a long and healthy life. So I think sleep and dreams are a really important part of life and goals as well. Both kinds of dreams, sleeping dreams, as well as our dreams that lead to goals and fulfillment and our purpose. So I love to help people age well, and dreams are an integral part of that process. We're all aging, whether we're a newborn baby or we're an 85-year-old older man. We're all women, but I'm just making something up. So you get the idea.
Wait, you mean we're all older than we were like a minute ago?
Yeah, we're moving forward on the timeline.
Well, except moving forward is way better than the alternative. So I will take it.
Absolutely.
Okay. And Kat, great to see you. And I know that you and Elise know each other independent of me, which is always kind of fun. So exactly. I'm glad to have you here as well to talk about dreams and sleep and all sorts of whatever else we want to talk about.
Yeah, I am so excited.
So please share a little bit more about you and why you're so excited about this topic.
Yes. So I am a trauma-informed holistic nutritionist. I'm also a behavior coach, and as you mentioned, food whisperer, chef. I worked in the restaurant industry for many years, for about over 20 years. So I bring all of everything into my practice, helping mostly women with anxiety, mood issues, sleep issues, peri-postmenopausal issues, oftentimes overwhelm, weight issues, food-related issues. Get them to find their own personal roadmap. I'm all about personalization, all about biochemical differences and really finding their own way. So much of the time we see so many things that are out there, this plan, that diet, cold plunging, whatever it is, but it doesn't fit our life. So that is what I do. And really my aim is to help provide some help so people can feel vital, so they can feel seen, and so they can feel just bright again.
Right, because if you don't feel well, you can't go upon the world and do awesome things. It's impossible.
Yeah, I was going to say, and what a brilliant topic you picked, Debra. Sleep has almost everything to do with what that is. And if we're not sleeping, we're not thinking, we're not feeling the way we normally do, and everything is affected from our head to our toes. So
Yes, and we're getting way ahead of ourselves. So let's bring Leslie here. So good to see you.
Good to be here. Thank you so much, Deborah. And it's good to meet everyone else as well. Well, I'm based in Scotland, just outside Glasgow. And I'm a shamanic practitioner and storyteller, among other things, as you said. However, I'm also a hypnotherapist and a coach. And it kind of all comes in together because sleep is another state of being. And I'm all about being in different states. And I think we'll be talking a little bit more about that later. But I am usually dealing with people who have lost their confidence, who are looking for their understanding and their purpose. And they sometimes have an inkling that they have a purpose, but they're not entirely sure how to go about finding it. So I help them find it. And that's just one of the things that I do.
It really ties in very well with what I talk about a lot, because with goals, it's foundational. You can't get what you want unless you know what you want. And you need to know that purpose, because that is the driving force behind anything and everything you create. And we could totally tangent on that, but I'm going to rein us in because, well, I can. And it's so dreams. They're important, but they're important for, let's go with the literal ones. Leslie, why are dreams so valuable? The literal sleeping kind.
Well, as we discussed before, I don't like to call it the unconscious mind because it's not at all unconscious. It is absolutely jacked into the universe. It knows everything. It does everything. In fact, it can keep us on autopilot for a whole length of time while our conscious mind sitting at the back of the bus reading a magazine somewhere and just kicking back because we're asleep. However, the stuff that the conscious mind has left behind and littered around during the day is kind of getting socked in there and sorted. It's like your mum coming into your room when you're a teenager and picking up all your stuff and putting it into sorting it into piles and saying, yeah, well, we'll deal with that, we'll deal with that, we'll deal with that. However, what we're also doing is we're dealing with thoughts and feelings that have been going on throughout the day and perhaps for a bit longer. And it's a way of realizing that there are things we have to be paying attention to. Now, some of us will have a more prophetic style of dreaming. Some of us dream in black and white. Some of us dream in full color, full vista vision. The whole thing is going on. Some of us don't realize that we dream at all. In fact, there are some people with a condition called aphantasia who can't see pictures in their mind when they're awake. However, studies have shown that even people who don't believe that they're dreaming, their brain waves are showing that they're actually dreaming, and there's a hot spot way in the back there that is alive and sparking like a Christmas tree on just going bananas when they're dreaming about people's faces, when they're seeing people in their dreams, because it's that point in the brain that actually deals with that information of who this is. So it's about memory, it's about connection, it's about understanding that we have to actually allow ourselves to do this so we don't have all this stuff cluttering up and we can get up the next morning and say, right, let's make some more memories then, shall we?
Awesome. I see Elise is like nodding. What would you like to add to that?
Well, I love everything Leslie already said. I just wanted to add that sleep dreams are amazing because we don't have the confines of our physical world. We can be suddenly like we're in our elementary school, like we're back in 5th grade, or we could be in the future, as Leslie said, having prophetic dreams. Maybe I've had those dreams, not a lot, but a few, or sometimes you don't even know what they mean until later something happens. You're like, oh, that was what happened. So we don't have the confines of time and space. We can go anywhere. We can travel without buying a ticket. We can hang out with celebrities. So it's just, the sky's the limit. And that's just another layer that I wanted to add, because I think when we make goals, we want to have those dings like, yeah, things can happen. So we need to dream big, and our sleeping dreams help us go beyond, what we think is possible and beyond actually what is possible in this moment.
And we do need to dream big, because the bigger we dream, the more we can accomplish. And the more we gift the time and the space and the energy to dream, the better, cooler things we can come up with. So that's fantastic. And Kat, I know you have a feeling on this too. What is the value of dreams to you?
Well, these ladies brilliantly said so much about dreams, but really, I mean, I look at dreams to me as messages. Could it be something that I'm not facing or choosing to face in my life, or something that may need more energy and attending to? And also as a creative exploration, really about how we can put things together and reframe things and play a little bit, because I think we've lost that element of play a lot in the last couple of years. I know I have. So it's just a way, I think, for us to pay more attention to that element of expansion and growth and play and doing things differently. I use a tool in my toolkit called, you probably already know about the chakras, but one of the elements in there, one of the areas of energy is called the insight, your third eye, and the crown area. And those right there are so relevant to what we're talking about. And later on, I'll plug in a few things about what I have to say about foods and even lifestyle activities and thinking, affirmations, and things that can kind of plug into that energy system that will help just really generate some interesting dreams.
Oh, so we can program our dreams. Very, very cool. And for me, my theme this month is hope. And really, what says hope more, well, than hope, but also dreams, because you need to know that something else is possible, that your work towards, whether it is the goal is a different kind of ideal life, or better balance, or love, or community, or whatever it is. But the dreams bring us hope, and hope gets fulfilled in dreams. So I really like how it all comes in circles. So what can we learn from our dreams? Elise?
We can.
Oh, I'll just say we can really, it's a way to learn about ourselves. I mean, I'm talking about me, learn about me, because I can help other people with their problems. I'm pretty good at that. I think we're all coaches, and I love to help people. I love to do that. But sometimes with me, it's like something's right in my face. I'm like, oh, where is everybody? What's going on? So dreams kind of help us unpack these things that are, often people are a mirror, or situations are a mirror, but we don't see that because we're so ourselves that we get really stuck and lost. It can be embarrassing sometimes. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe, some of the things I've done unconsciously. So the dreams can help us. The way we can write them out. I don't know whether to echo, but yeah. I think dreams are a tool that everyone can use to unpack really deep patterns that we want to release and overcome.
And I bet Kat agrees with you.
Completely.
What would you like to add to this, Kat? What can we learn?
Yeah, I really don't have too much. I'm curious what all of everybody is thinking about the last 19 months and how everybody has had related dreams to the pandemic and things like that, right? It would be interesting to do research on that and how much this time has affected our dream state and what's happening with that.
And I take it you're talking about the literal dream state, but also probably the physical dream state, totally. The awake, shall we call them the awake dreams, which is what I talk about, because we've had this great big pause button and people have had a lot more time than they ever had. And that's the perfect time, the bonus time when you're not commuting, to think about your dreams, to dream big, to work towards making your dreams a reality. Leslie, what do you think about what we can learn from our dreams?
I think what I'm going to say is that we can learn a lot about what happens when we don't dream or when we are not able to dream. And it's got a lot to do with our mental health. And over the past 19 months, people have been suffering a lot with sleep patterns and disruption. So their dreams have been quite mixed, if they're there at all, if they're getting the amount of sleep that they need to get that's not unbroken, because there's been a lot of worry and a lot of tension going about. That's not to say that we're not actually getting dreams. It's just that perhaps our connection is a little bit disconnected at the moment as far as dreams are concerned. What I do, and people like me, we lucid dream to a certain extent, which basically means that we can dream, but we're realizing that we're asleep and we're dreaming. We can still actually guide that dream and make that dream show us exactly what we want to do. And to do that, we have to make a connection with that universal mind. We have to make a free flow of information that's going from one to the other. And that's a very good thing to actually manufacture and practice for yourself, because once you get a grip on that skill, then you will be able to dream, and you will be able to interpret your dream a lot easier, a lot more simply. And it's going to be a case of, once you do that, you're going to get to know exactly what you're being told and things that you're missing. It's like when you dream of great Aunt Nellie, and that Nellie's been dead for like 15 or 20 years, and you don't know what's going on. And suddenly one day, like Elise says, one day you're sitting there and something happens and you go, oh, hang on a minute. That's just like what Aunt Nellie did in my dream. Ah, that's my universal mind telling me I have to be paying attention now. There's something about Aunt Nellie's character, and it's a kind of thing that your universal mind and your spirit will actually say, okay, this is where we need to talk. And this is where we're going to teach you the language, how we're going to be communicating with one another. I'm going to send you these pictures, and you're going to make them and look at them, and then you're going to realize and pay attention. And once you get that idea, we're going to keep going, and we're going to get really, really good at this. And it really does help, because it gives you a sense of control. It gives you this modicum of, I have some security here. I know who I am. I know where I am in time and space. And I know that I have resources. And that for me is the most important part about dreams, lucid and sleep dreams.
So it's like a security? That's interesting.
Yeah, it's like a security blanket. You know, like when you were a kid and you had my brother, he used to call it his sucker, because it was a little like a bib thing, and he used to stick it in his mouth and he'd just trail out of his mouth. But he couldn't sleep without this. And this idea of security, it's like, it's like your rabbit's foot or your touchstone. Dreams are the things that actually connect us to spirit and to things that are beyond even that, and to our own consciousness and our understanding of being human.
So what can people do? Oh, I'm sorry. What can people do to do you have a simple exercise to help people?
Yeah, it actually starts with a conversation. Just sitting on the side of the bed at night before you go to sleep, totally relaxed, making sure that you've got your stuff all there, your glass of water if you need one, your lights out, your book instead of your iPad or your phone. And basically you sit there and you say, all right, universal mind, I know that you know a lot more about this than I do. So I'm going to ask you now, when I dream, and I know you're going to give me a really good dream because I'm asking you to, I'd like you to remind me of it so that I can get all I need out of it. And I want you to remind me at a time when I'm going to be paying attention. So it could be that I'm in the shower and I'm washing my hair, and it's the actual act of doing this that makes the dream come straight back into my head again, and I can see it all going. Or it could be when I'm eating my cornflakes. But sometime when I'm going to have the time to pay attention and to look at it. Now, it possibly won't happen right away, but practice makes perfect. And the more you speak to your universal mind, the more it's going to listen and the more it's going to actually talk back.
So you're basically becoming BFFs with your dreams.
Yeah.
I like that. It's like, okay, we're going to go to sleep now. And please, I know you have good things to tell me. Please help me remember them. Okay? Thanks, bud. See you on the other side. I mean, I know I'm oversimplifying, but I am goal setting simplified. So,
That's great. It depends on how there are a lot of people who would say, oh, well, I have to be in this position, or I have to have this thing over here. Actually, it's already there. It just needs that key.
So you're talking to yourself in a way and saying, I know you've got some good stuff to tell me in my sleep. I would love to, and I want the good sleep. I like claiming that part as well.
Yeah, and then
I want
when you want to do it during the day, what you can do is you can use drums, rattles, get that kind of binaural beat going on, and you will actually manage to lucid dream or go on a journey, as we call it.
Very cool. Elise, did you want to add to that?
I lost track of the original question, but I would say dreams. Yeah, I love that Leslie said connecting to universal mind, because dreams also connect us to, again, that no time, no space. You can convene with somebody who's no longer living. And so that's why also the pandemic was an interesting time. And they actually did do a lot of research. There's a few dream researchers. Now, I just want to say that the dream researchers, I think, don't believe, like all of us here are like-minded in that we think dream connects us to spirit, to whatever you want to call it. We don't really have words, but I mean, I'm just saying there might be universal mind, or we're in the dream time, but there's something that is bigger than us that we're connecting to in dreams. That's what I believe. And it's more of a shamanic viewpoint. But the dream researchers, I think they are looking at dreams in a, like it's all about the brain waves and the brain, the neurons and things like that. But they have been doing research on COVID-19 or pandemic dreams. And there was an article in the New York Times. So I just wanted to presence that as something that everyone can relate to, that people have been having weirdly similar dreams about the pandemic. And there are researchers that are keeping track of that.
The one thing that's happening is that we're in a paradigm shift. We are absolutely in a tween space just now, because there's two definite states of being that is going to happen. There's the before COVID and the after COVID. And right at this minute in time, we are in the between state of the two, because it will be a long, long time before we're fully after. However, while we're still in this area where I was listening to a speaker recently, and they came away with this absolutely fantastic phrase, the dislocation of expectation. While we have that dislocation of expectation, it's like we're being given with one hand and it's being taken away with the other. Yeah, you can have a cookie. Oh, well, no, you can't.
Right. Yes, and a lot of people had good years and a lot of people had terrible years, and most people are more in that state where 3 steps forward, 4 steps back.
Can I just add something really quickly to that I've seen with my clients? That I love that dislocation of expectations. I wanted to hear that again from my own ears. But what I've noticed with a lot of clients that I coach is they need to be just present. Before we've wanted to plan ahead. And I know we can say a lot about this with goals. And that's true. We do need to plan ahead, but there's a part of collective learning that I'm noticing with people that we need to just be here. And much as we'd rather like, oh, I want it to be this way, like, is it going to be this way or that way? And I keep sensing that people just need to be right here and not have those expectations, not know what's going to happen, not have that control. It's come up over and over. So I love the dislocation of expectations.
I love it too. And I want to say, and Kat, we'll jump to you in a second. I just want to say that for me, because I do talk about goals and I do notice that a lot, I am this huge fan of, and this is why I say, think about the life you want. What does that look like? It's going to look different because everything is different, but you could still have what you want. It's just going to be showing up in a different format. And maybe rather than plan your goals for 5 years from now, think about what wins you want for the end of the year, for the end of next year. So think a little ahead rather than in those leaps. So all good points. Kat, would you like to add something about what we learned from our dreams?
Yeah, it's so funny you're talking about that. The dislocation piece, and what a better way to talk about this with the sleep. And if we're not well slept, it's very difficult to manage that. And what I kind of wanted to add here was, bringing in the physical, back in the physical was, there's so many things that can take us away from getting that good sleep. And there's so many things that we can do to benefit our sleep and our sleep habits. Of course, eating. Certain foods can really help give you those sleep chemicals that allow you to have a restful sleep or even get to sleep. So things like, we all know about tryptophan, right? Tryptophan-rich foods like turkey, beans, things like that. But that's because it's a precursor to serotonin. What is serotonin? But a mood-stabilizing hormone and neurotransmitter that's made in the gut. So we want to look at all aspects of the body, not just what we're eating and how we're eating, but look at gut health. Gut health is so important because we make those mood hormones in our gut. We make the bacteria, right? And we also, it can help us, it can either hinder us or help us, whether we're going to get a good sleep or not. The vitamin B6, right? B6 actually increases serotonin, which actually lowers stress, right? And that is a precursor to melatonin in your body, which causes you to have actually more vivid dreams and dream in and of itself, but actually more vivid and vivid states. And there's so many foods that have B6. So it's very difficult to get deficient, but you can really play around with things like, your fruits and vegetables, your plants, all of that, fish, poultry. I don't want to go into the negatives. So we can talk about that later, like what can hinder sleep. But if you would like.
Let's stay on the Deb positive.
Yeah.
But just to go back to the simplified, what are 3 foods, just off the top of your head, that people can eat to encourage better sleep?
Yeah. So, people used to always think about the hot milk before you go to bed. Probably not the best, although it's for some people that are okay with drinking and eating dairy. That's, it's okay. But I tend to not want to have people eat before bed. I want to have them extend that period of time where they're not eating so they get a better restful sleep. But anything that's protein rich can really help. Poultry, meat, beans, things like that. And then also really just, it's honestly all about the circadian rhythms. So it's your eating, and then it's the period of non-eating. It's your exercise. It's your exposures to light, and so many things that reflect a better sleep. I know I've been playing around a lot with how I sleep and when I sleep, and I've gotten a lot of great results. Even just eating super early, that really helps my sleep. And then using things like neurotropics or things that are, let's say, L-theanine is a great one. L-theanine is in green tea. Of course, you don't want to have that right before bed, but it gives you a really calm state. And pairing that up with GABA, which is a very relaxing neurotransmitter, can really provide you a great sleep. I use that. I have that right next to my bed, my bedstand. And if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll take a couple of pumps and it puts me right to sleep.
Menopause is a difficult time, particularly when it comes to dreaming, etc. It's almost a physical manifestation of the energy that's going on at the moment as well. This breaking off of one cycle and coming on to another. What are the kind of foods that are good for that? Is it the same, or is there something else?
Yeah, there's also a lot has to do with hormone balance, and of course in menopause we're not producing the hormones in the state that we were when we were 20 and 30. So much of those hormones, the estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, that's all being taken over and produced by the adrenal glands. So we really have to manage our stress and our blood sugar at the same time. Any kind of big fluctuations is a huge no-no especially for our bodies at this more tender time. So, eating more healthy proteins, essential fatty acids that are clean, avoiding the alcohol in excess. That's a huge one that depletes us and also interferes with sleep. And what do we want to do, right? Relax and have a glass of wine, which is the exact thing that takes us away from having good sleep. And we want to also at that time really, or at any time in anyone's life, really manage liver health too, because that's how we break things down. The liver has so much to do with it. Whether we're getting hormones from the outside sources, let's say from you go out to dinner and you have a non-grass-fed animal, something with pesticides, or look, you're not getting really, really healthy foods at most restaurants, and the manner of preparation is different than the way you do it at home. So we have to honor that. And when we do choose to do that, make sure that the rest of our day is blessed with just really great foods and lots of liquids, lots of hydration, and making sure that most of our days we're eating a balanced diet.
And Elise, I'm sure you have some take on ways to prepare your body for better sleep.
Yeah, I'll just say I ditto what everyone else has said. I'll add a couple things that I do. I'd say let's start with the morning because we've talked about foods and before bed, setting yourself up for great sleep in the morning. One of the great things that we sometimes forget, I don't know if everybody knows about it, but it's important to me. Go outside in the light, get light on your eyes because that resets your circadian clock in your brain. So get out as early as you can, not just look out the window, but I guess if you can't get outside, like even put your head out the window, but try to take a little walk and get light on your eyes. And I would say journaling is really good because journaling, especially if we're in a transition like this time in COVID or we're in menopause or we're just having a lot of ups and downs, because the more we can process that conscious stuff, then we can get to the deeper universal mind, universal wisdom that can come to the surface more easily the more we process. And then exercise. I think I like to exercise in the morning, sometimes throughout the day, but find a good time to exercise, not within 2-3 hours of sleep, unless you're somebody, there's a few people, everybody has a blueprint. There's some people that actually can exercise late, but most of us can't because it gets us to, for me, I'm very sensitive. So if I exercise vigorously later in the night or day, I'm up, till late hours. So those are my tips.
I like those, and I am with the exercise. So in November, I decided to declare it Da Evdano, so dance every day in November. So this part of the hope theme, my hypothesis is that if we dance even for a couple minutes every day during the month, it's going to raise our vibration and we will have a better month as a result. So we're halfway there. I say, yes, it is working, and you can join Dance Every Day in November anytime, any month, any time of year. So when you find the things that you enjoy that you'll do more often as far as exercise is concerned, I think that's a huge part of it too, right?
Yes.
And you can also trance dance, which is like dreaming when you dance.
Wait, say again?
You can trance dance.
I
which
need
is
to know
like
more.
dreaming. Well, we do it shamanically. It's a great thing to do. You put your focus into connecting with your spirit guides and actually opening up your energy to allow yourself to really get into the connection with the collective consciousness. If you're Jungian, you will know about that. And so it's your universal mind just actually going out there. Now, when we do it, we're doing it to connect with our power animals and to get, like we would do if we were going to bed and saying, I want to have a dream about this because I need some information. So put on some really good drum music and get in there, get your earphones on if you want to. Just make sure that, you're not going to trip over anything. Always be safe. But it's actually something that's kind of more an ecstatic thing. So you're not fully asleep. You're not fully, awake. You're kind of somewhere in the middle, just going between the two. And then when you go with the beat of the music, as you know, you're already with the movement and the swaying, you're already getting there. And then when you've got the drum beat, especially a certain rhythm, it will take you right into journey time, so trance, and you will have the most amazing experience. You have exercise at the same time, and it's very good before bed.
Ooh, so that is like approved before bed exercise.
For some people, yeah, some people do it so hard that they will be, it's like exercise. They will actually, go, oh, hello. It's like the Energizer Bunny. So basically, anything to do with bringing your level down, getting your theta waves into sync with yourself, you can go and bring yourself into sleep that way. But if you're really feeling ragged and you're upset about something and you're really feeling that you need to push something out, get into trance dance. And actually, when you're, how cathartic it is when you're dancing around the kitchen to meatloaf or something. And, like a bat out of hell, just going for it. And basically, that's what it is like. We do a lot of drumming, but actually, if you're not used to doing it and dancing around at the same time, if you want to be able to fling your arms around and do whatever, then you really want to stick your earbuds in and get going. And then you won't be disturbing the neighbours either, and they won't really know what you're doing.
That is amazing. And you all know me, so this surprises no one that if I tell you several times a week, I will be so enthusiastically talking, I will pull my earbuds right out. And usually it's when I'm being interviewed for someone or having a serious conversation, which is always, kind of funky. But I love this, and I am going to play with trance dancing because that sounds like my jam.
I'll send you a couple of suggestions for songs, for music.
I love that. Thank you very much. So let's talk about dreams because we're like almost 40 minutes in. Shocker. So Leslie, what can people do now, especially in this time, to focus on their dreams, elevate their? Now we're going to like the actual kind. What are your recommendations for that?
Write it down to begin with. Get your ideas out on paper as to what you want your dreams to be, how you want to be them, and get a list, block it out. How do I feel about it when I'm there? How am I feeling? What am I seeing? What am I doing? Who's there? What faces do I really want to see? Which faces am I not quite so happy to see? And then get them out of the way. What does it smell like? What does it taste like? Is the sun shining? Am I feeling it on my body?
get the feeling, get the whole range into this and get used to actually doing that when you start your dream. Put yourself in the place of being there in that moment in time, because time is a construct, like Elise was saying. And basically, when you're in dream time, it can be any time, every time, all the time. So when you're there, be in it. Feel it, move it, do it.
So this is like programming your actual dreams,
Yes.
like the ones that after you go to sleep you have.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When you think about it, when you're having, the brain can't distinguish, the mind can't distinguish between vivid visualization and a memory. So we can make memories by visualizing. And if we do it as we're there, then we can say, oh yeah, I remember that. I know how to do that. That's easy. So think about a place where you've been that you're really, really happy. Replicate it. Remember how it felt. And as you're feeling it, that energy starts to come out and grow. And it actually becomes a pleasure to do it. And you're going to want to do it again.
So you want to, it's like prep work before you go to sleep. Live in the moment of what you want your dream to be. Mm-hmm. Write it down in as many senses as possible so you are as there as you can be. And so is this before or after you talk to your spirit guides about remembering your dream? You
can do it before, you can do it after, you can do it at the same time. You could actually be talking to your spirit guide saying, give me a little bit of help with this, because you know me just as well as I do. In fact, you probably know me better. Let's have a chat. Where can I go? When we shamanically journey, we have 3 levels. So we have the lower, the middle, and the upper world. The upper world is like the angelic realm, where the inner children are. So that's kind of a happy, fun place. The middle world is a healing place. The lower world, that's where all the power animals are. You kind of go and collect them there. And that's a lot of fun. The middle world has got all your folklore and fairy tale people and everything like that. And it's just a most magical place. And once you let go the idea of, I'm not entirely sure that's not a little bit cuckoo, then it's absolutely, because you're not doing it by yourself. Nobody needs to know. You don't have to tell anybody. Keep yourself.
So also treat your dreams the way you treat your other kinds of dreams. Not everybody needs to know what you're striving for, but you need to know what you're striving for, because
and you need to do it all the time.
Elise, would you like to add to that?
I would love to. Before I answer that question, I just wanted to acknowledge that Estella has a couple questions. I just wanted to say hey to her, and I didn't quite understand. She's curious about her excellent health and her great sleeping nights, and something else about not having dreams. So maybe she has excellent health and great sleeping nights. So I hope that's the case. I don't know if there's a question there, but I just wanted to say, hey, thanks for watching. One thing I wanted to add, I completely agree with Leslie, is that the limiting beliefs, and a big one for many of us is it's too late. Sometimes if we're younger, age can get in the way. We might have different programming that tells us, I didn't graduate from college, I can't do that. Maybe that's your dream. Maybe you want to be a professor. Maybe you want to become a school teacher and you're in your 70s or 80s. All kinds of, we can have dreams at any age. And in my book, I have examples of what I call super agers who've accomplished their dreams, even at 105. Like there was a lady that she's not in my book, but a woman just broke a world record for running 100 meters, and she's 105 years old. So I like to tell those stories, and I know Leslie's stories really help us to envision, especially if maybe we didn't have grandparents or older adults, elders around us, because our life expectancy has gone up so tremendously, and many people didn't really have examples of healthy and vibrant older adults in their life. So they might not dream, they might associate being older with something negative or declining. And so I just like to remind everyone, like, let go of that limiting belief. What is your passion? What is your desire? Tap into that. Use those techniques that Leslie used. And if you're very young, but you have a lot of goals and desires too, it can happen there. Like, oh, I'm too young. I don't have enough experience is another one, which is just kind of cousin of it's too late. So I wanted to add that because I think those limiting beliefs sneak in to our psyche, our spirit. They probably pull us down into places where we can't access those power animals. And I want to play with the power animals.
And you do. You want to get rid of the limiting beliefs. And I think we all agree that anything isn't just possible, it's probable if you commit to it, if you make a plan. It's exactly why I wrote your goal guide, is so people facing change by choice or circumstance can embrace it. Everybody deserves to live that wonderful dream life. And I want to kind of combine what both you, Elise, and Leslie are saying is you can program the dream that you want your life to be before you go to sleep and let your mind work through it and give you answers on that path, or, grab my book and do the homework. But whatever it is that you want, there are tools out there, but a lot of it all starts with a dream. And so, Kat, would you like to add to this?
Yes, I thought of a few things as you ladies were talking. They stimulated a lot of ideas, but we have to sleep to regenerate our brain and our nervous system. And Leslie, you brought up menopause, and I think Elise, you brought up having a plan, right? And fundamentally, like you were saying too, Debra, is you got to have the foundation and like the idea and the hope for a future. And really, what I love to just put out there is to plan to have this night of a great night of sleep, right? If we don't plan for it, it's not going to exist, because we'll get to 9 o'clock and we're just going to just watch that next Netflix series, right? We're going to do the tea too late. We're going to stay up for some other reason. So we have to have that plan. Now, I've made the plan, so now it's ingrained in my lifestyle. So I'll just put a few things out there that may be helpful. One is sleeping with an optimal room temperature. I mean, it's got to be cold. Cold is good. You want to snuggle into those blankets. You want to, heaviness is actually very supportive in our system. We feel our nervous system is very supported when we have heavy blankets. So I know it's over summer here in the West, but I put my fan. And even when it's cold, it drowns out the sound. It's kind of white noise, and it feels great on your skin. And, of course, there'll be some nights where I don't put that on, a few, but generally I keep that on. Very dark. Don't want any kind of white lights sneaking in there. So a nice sleep patch can be very helpful. There's some beautiful ones that are made of silk that don't crimp your eyes and things like that. Elise, you were talking about getting that daylight exposure. So important. Recently, I've over the last year, I read the Sash and Panda's books on the circadian rhythm. And there's so much research on even exposing your eyes in daylight without your sunglasses on early in the morning. Now, you don't want to look at the sun, definitely not, but that can help offset the stress hormones. Definitely, whatever you're doing, don't wear those blue blockers in the daytime, because I know I've had a couple of clients that had come to me and said that they were wearing blue blockers for the computer, but you don't want to do that. You want to keep those blue blockers, right, only for nighttime, because you want to prevent against your pineal gland not producing that melatonin. So that blue light interferes with that process of producing that melatonin that you need to go to sleep. I have a quick little acronym that might be helpful to sleep. And sleep, the S is stress. You want to really work on the stress as much as possible. Taking those stress breaks throughout the day can really help, especially if you're with the computer, looking away, standing up, doing some squats, whatever it is that you need to do every 50 minutes is really great. Super helpful. L is the light we talked about, the daylight and the night light. E for EMFs, or electromagnetic radiation. I unplug my Wi-Fi router every night before bed. Please don't have your phone on. I mean, I know that for security reasons, sometimes people want that, but at least put it on airplane mode. E for exercise. The right amount of exercise, not too much, not too little, but your body needs to move. We're designed to move. And then P is my plan. Having a plan to how are you going to set up your day? How are you going to eat at the right times, at the same time? You want to have a real nice rhythm and a pattern to the times that you eat, and not eating too much too late. And of course, being careful with the alcohol. Limiting to 1 glass of wine, or if you're having troubles with sleep, maybe trying to abstain for a night or 2 to see how that feels. So that hopefully that will help.
Well, and you said a lot of things, but I want to go back to the first thing you said, which is also the last thing you said, about the plan. You need a plan for your day so you have a healthy day, so you have a healthy night's sleep. But I think also going to bed saying, I'm going to have a great night's sleep. I'm going to dream ties into everything everybody is saying. It's just because you don't sleep well, stop saying that.
Yeah, and don't stress about not sleeping well. It's okay. You'll catch up. And you know, there's been a lot of research done on naps and how they can be, for most people, not great. Right? Because then we're not as sleepy later when we want to unwind. But, you know, it shouldn't be too harmful to do, but it definitely is to really want to schedule that same time, same night. Even if you don't sleep well, wake up at the same time. That's very important.
Excellent. Well, so now that we have the sleep figured out, then we could dream more, then we could figure out our lives and have the perfect life that we want, because we all deserve it and we need the hope. So simple. And at this point, what I would love from each of you is for a goal for you to gift the audience. So whether you are watching Goal Chat Live or listening on the Deb Show, it's goal time. And so, Elise, what goal would you like to gift our audience? What is one thing they can do today, tonight, tomorrow to improve their sleep and or dreams?
I would like to gift an idea and an action. The idea is change in baby steps. Do something today you heard on this goal chat. There were so many fabulous tips and tricks and acronyms. And Acella's asking, why doesn't she dream? She could just do one thing. Just try to do the talk to her universal mind before she goes to bed. One small action, because we can get overwhelmed doing too many things. So my goal is pick one small, tiny action that you're going to do tonight. That is just, maybe it's just a little journaling for 5 minutes or 2 minutes. Make it so tiny. Tiny habits are great. So small you can't say no. Because what often happens is kind of the flip side of dreams. We dream so big. I'm going to change my whole life. I'm going to change my whole sleeping pattern. And we think we're going to do it tomorrow. But we need to start with those micro habits and then build. You know, it's like the step. We're taking 1 step forward and we keep going. So one tiny change, one tiny takeaway. Resist the urge to do everything at once. Do one thing. That's my goal for everybody, including me.
And you're going to do it too.
I'm going to talk to my universal mind, because that's not going to take long and that's going to be fun. And also it's good if it's fun too, because we want to be excited. If it's something, you know, pick something that you feel like your spirit is calling you, coming back to that spirit. What is your spirit like really excited to do right now? You're going to do that more likely.
Yes. We love fun here at me and Goal Chat and the Deb Show. And Kat, what is the goal that you wish to gift the audience?
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of torn between a few, but One is going to be kind of piggybacking on Elise. I think, you mentioned writing. Definitely have your pen on hand next to your bed with a pad or something that you can write on when you wake up in the middle of the night with a strange dream or something you want to make sense of. That's so helpful to write it down, because I know for me, if I don't have that, I got to remember that, and I won't. And I'll be so upset because I wanted, it really does help for many reasons. You might even think about something and then it's not a dream, but you want to still write it down. Second one is the goal that I would say, let's stop our multitasking. We live in that multitasking universe. I speaking to the choir here, I am one of those people, and I'm constantly on myself for that. And it's okay to just acknowledge it when it comes up. It's cool. You can begin again, right? You're multitasking, you're da-da-da-da-da. There I am. Interesting. Okay. Because I think, honestly, this is really taking away from our brilliance and our brilliant dream state. When we're all over the place, we're going to have chaos in our dream. So I hope that helps. Really just being present in what you're doing and just acknowledging when you're not and starting over. Simple.
Perfect. Simple. Love that word. Leslie, what is your goal that you want to gift?
Be kind to yourself. Think about your self-speak. They say 60,000 thoughts a day, and a great percentage of those are negative and repetitive. So when you catch yourself in that spiral of negative thinking and saying things like, "Oh, you're so stupid," to yourself, stop it. And then forgive yourself. There's a Huna prayer that's very easy, and I say it at night before I go to sleep. And it encompasses everything. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And it's one of those things that the more you say it, the more you'll feel it. So remember, you don't have to tuck all those thoughts in your head all the time. You can actually let them go. And if you can't sleep at night, why don't you daydream? Why don't you take 5 minutes out and think about how it used to be when you were a kid and you could ride on a sunbeam or fly on a breeze? Just do that for 5 minutes and see how it works.
These are so fantastic. And before we wrap, Leslie, where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, and I'm on the page called The State of Mind, or on Journeys with Bear and Wolf if you want the shamanic one. I'm also on LinkedIn, and you can get me on info@spiralheart.co.uk.
Thank you so much. I always feel so much calmer after I speak to you. I swear. It's the coolest thing. I feel your energy across from the other side of the world, and I thank you. And so, Cat, where can people find you?
Very simple. My name is Cat Dillon, CATDILLON. You can find me at that.com. And you can also, right there, download a stress and anxiety meal plan that will help sleep as well as stress easily there. And have a summit coming up shortly. And if you get that meal plan, you'll be on the list to get all the summit updates on achieving tranquility, in which actually Debra and Elise Marie are going to be co-hosting. So you'll want to definitely sign up for that.
Excellent. And looking forward to that. And Elise Marie Collins, where can people find you?
You can find me. I'm on Instagram, Super Ager with an underscore, Super Ager. Just look up Elise Marie Collins, Instagram, Super Ager. My website is elisemariecollins.com. And on my Instagram, you can also get 10 tips to Super Age. And you can send me, I don't have this meditation, but if you go to my website and just fill out the little form, I can send you a sleep meditation. And I'm also on Facebook too, Super Ager and Elise Marie Collins Yoga, because the other thing I do is teach yoga.
Wow, such great information and such great energy. And everyone, you can find me. I'm thedebmethod.com and at the Deb Method everywhere. And if you go to thedebmethod.com/blog, you could get the links and read the recap from this and my other episodes of Goal Chat Live. And if you need help setting your goals for sleep or really anything else, grab your copy of your goal guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals on Amazon or your favorite place to buy books. Wow, this is just chock full of great tips, and I'm going to be doing like all of the things. We want to shout out really quickly to Tracy, who says, thank you for all your advice. I really enjoyed the podcast. Thank you so much for watching, Tracy. And Estella also said, thanks for the advice. And Estella, it's your birthday. So happy birthday. And we hope you get sleep for your birthday and other good things coming your way. One final thought before we wrap. Elise.
Yeah, have wonderful dreams, do those dream activation exercises. We're all connected. And even though we might not have the same life that we had before the pandemic, let's show up in our collective, like we can go across, we can chat and be in this podcast with Leslie, who's in Scotland, Cat, who's in San Diego, Deb in LA. Take advantage of the good things.
Always want the good things. And Kat, final tip.
I'm going to say prioritize sleep so you can dream brilliantly. Dreaming is so much fun, and we sort of just say, we don't even think about it, right? So really prioritizing, from start of the day to be able to go to bed early, right? There's nothing to be done after 10 p.m. That's good. So get to bed early.
Fantastic. And Leslie, what is your final thought?
Dreams are the seeds of your future, and they come in the dark. So make yourself comfortable. Read for pleasure, nothing too taxing. And do a little bit of your own kind of special me ceremony, which might include a warm bubble bath before you go to bed. Something nice, something soft music-wise, thinking of wonderful things, and actually saying to yourself, like Elise was saying, I'm going to have a great sleep, because I know I can. And when I wake up in the morning, fully rested, I'm going to have a great day. And I hope you do.
Amazing. We have to do one more shout out to Laurel, who said thank you. All inspiring tools to implement right away. Thank you for tuning in. Laurel, Tracy, Estella, and everybody else who's silently watching. We so appreciate you tuning in and choosing yourself, because that's really what these conversations are for, is to give you the tools so you can live the life that you want, that you deserve, that is full of hope. And just embrace all the good, including all the good in you. Go on out there and go for it. Thank you again, Leslie, Kat, and Elise Marie. It's been an absolute pleasure. And to everybody, sweet dreams.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.